Hi, welcome back. Here we are at Auction Adventures. Chris Dudley here with Dudley's Auctions. Today we have a special treat. We are actually going to talk to Susan Strawbridge. She's with the Homosassa Springs Ellie Schiller.
Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park.
There you go. Now, Ellie and I, Susan and I have worked together in the past. We've done, last year we did a appraisal fair.
Very successful one.
It worked out really well. I mean, it was just so much fun because so many people came in carrying different things. And we are scheduled, and we're going to talk a little bit about the new one that we've got coming up. And it's going to be June 15th at the park.
In the visitor center.
At what time?
Well, the collectors will probably be set up by 10 o'clock in the morning, and then the appraisal fair usually starts at 11 because the people have to come, the different appraisers, and it'll run until 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And it is great fun. Now, this one's a little bit different than some of the appraisal fairs that we've done in the past because you invite collectors who have things that they love and that they set them up and they show them. Tell me about some of the collections that showed up last year.
Oh, we had some wonderful things. We had somebody who had all advertising collectibles. And we have had somebody with primitive tools.
That's Bobby Russ, one of my favorite people.
One of your people.
Yeah, he comes in and he has collections of some incredible primitive pieces that that he still can use today. And he is so informed when he wants to share with you and tell you what each piece is and what it was used for and the history of it. So it's really educational as well as entertaining.
It definitely is.
Now, we talk about doing the appraisal fair here at Auction Adventures because appraising an item is a big part of things that we do before we auction things off, and that's how it kind of ties into the Auction Adventure show. And this one we do because it is a fundraiser for
the Friends of the Park, the Friends of Homosassa Springs Wildlife Park. And as if people aren't familiar with that group, they're a citizen support organization, and they raise public awareness about the park, and they also raise funds through projects for improvements to the park.
And I know that when we go over to visit with you, they're there all over the place. They're helping, doing all sorts of things. The volunteers, again, we were just talking about that. The volunteers in Citrus County are amazing. And what a great place to volunteer, right there at the park. You get the manatees and the critters and the happy little kids that come and want to play, and people come from all over. It's one of the best places to take company. I mean, and great value. How much does it cost to get to the park these days?
It's $13.
Oh my gosh,
can you imagine? Adult. $5 for children 6 through 12, and if they're 5 and under, they're free. Oh, so
and then what do you get to do when you get to the park?
There's a boat pontoon boat ride that's 20 minutes long. Takes you to the from the main entrance on Highway 19 back to the Fishbowl Drive entrance, which is where you go in to see the animals.
Now, we were talking about this. The park is located in Homosassa. For anybody that's never been this way, it's right there on Highway 19 in Homosassa.
Easy to find.
Easy to find. And how long has the park been there?
It's been a state park since 1989. Yeah. Prior to that, it was a county-owned park for a while they were waiting for the state to be able to purchase it. Before that, it was privately owned. And there was actually an attraction there as early as the 1940s.
It's amazing. It's you know, Florida had such great roadside attractions like Weeki Wachee and Homosassa Springs. We'll talk a little bit more about that and talk about Ellie Schiller and how she became part of the park and the fun things that she's done. Now, some of the appraisers that we're going to have there. I know we have Roy, who's been on our show. Right. He did marbles and toys, and what are some of the other things you saw him come through with?
The last one, he had mostly marbles, but I learned so much about the marbles because I don't really collect them, but they attract me, and I have a few. But he had a nice exhibit of all different kinds of marbles. And it's great because people will bring in their, you know, this was my dad's, this is my granddad's, these were mine as a child, and they'll bring them in, and he can identify them. Not only can he tell you where they were made, he can tell you what type of marble it is, the value of the marble, and that sort of thing. Now, this appraisal fair, there's no purchasing involved. You can always collect names and phone numbers and that sort of thing. It's $5, right? For one item, and then 3 for $12 is what we did.
Yeah, 3 for $12. So if you have those items, you can carry them in. I know that there's some people who brought 6, 8, 10 items in.
Yes.
I know that we have some pictures of some things. I know we're going to go through some of those photographs on the next segment of the show. We'll talk about some of the other appraisers we have. Judy Schmutzer, who is just wonderful. She actually taught a class on antiques over at the college in Lecanto.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, and she was one of ours that did a little bit of everything, but I know that she did jewelry and watches, and then we have a coin fellow that's in there. And what were some of the other ones that you thought were interesting?
We had somebody who brought folk dolls that her mother had actually collected, and she had a wonderful collection of those. Judy Peterson collects everything.
Oh, she does. I know she's a regular at the auctions.
What
she's always
collection should I bring this time?
Yeah.
But this time she's going to be bringing steins and whiskey decanters and Toby character mugs and things like that.
Yeah, I know she has an incredible knife collection too.
Yeah.
And although she's not there as one of our appraisers, because she's a big collector, she's real familiar with prices and values, and she's always happy to talk to people and share information with them.
That's great.
So those are some of the different appraisers that we'll have. I know we have Bob coming in from Lake Pennsauken, who is our violin man, buys and sells and appraises and repairs violins all over the country. That, you know, he talks about them being his fiddles.
Yes.
But, and he can show us things like the bows. Sometimes the bows have more value than the actual violin.
Instrument.
So that's fun. Your collectibles, trains, we had the train collector there.
Yes,
and
that's what came in the last minute.
A stamp collector. There were stamps there. I know that we've got a stamp auction coming up.
Really?
There was somebody that brought some things in, some astronaut items that they brought in, and we actually sold for them at our autograph auction, and they did really, really well with that. And they were extremely happy. So, you know, it's an avenue to explore, to identify some of the things that you've got, and to value items and to meet people. It's a fun, fun day. Mark your calendar again. What was our day that we're going to do that?
It's going to be June the 15th, a Saturday. And it'll be rain or shine, because it'll be inside in the Florida room.
Right, and there'll be people there, so if you bring something larger, or you can bring a photograph of your items, if you want to bring photographs of your items, sometimes that'll help you too with the appraisals.
And we'll have people to help if you need help.
Yeah. So anyway, mark your calendar. That's the day. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Susan some more about some of the appraisers that are going to be there. We're going to talk about where we're at. Chris Dudley here with Susan Strawbridge from the Homosassa Springs Attraction. We're going to talk more about the appraisal fair. Stay tuned. We're going to have more fun. We'll see you in a few minutes. Hi, back again. Chris Dudley here for Auction Adventures. Today we're talking to Susan Strawbridge from the Homosassa Springs Attraction, the Ellie Schiller Attraction, and we're talking about the appraisal fair that we're going to have. Now we're going to put the date back up there. We're going to talk about how you can get in touch with her. There's a phone number, so if you have a collection that you want to share, again, June 15th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The appraisals start around 11. It's a lot of fun. I know that one thing I want to share right off the bat. It's a lot of fun. And everybody hurries in because they watch the TV shows. They watch the Antique Roadshow. They watch the Pawn Shop Brokers. They watch all those TV shows, and they all think they have to hurry, hurry, hurry and be there first thing. Well, there's a line, and what happens is they'll come through. I'll look at what you have, and I'll give you a ticket. I'll give them a ticket, and then they'll go from there to the particular table that's set up that'll have the particular collector or appraiser that knows those items. Now, my helpful hint of the day. Don't be there first thing. Take your time. You can be there first thing. You're welcome, but you're going to stand in line. We kind of slow down around the 2 o'clock hour.
That's
you know,
what happened
12,
last time.
And then you can walk right in and go right to your appraiser. I know that we have certain appraisers that usually always have a line, and one of them is Marty, because he has such a wide variety of knowledge. He does books. He does autographs. He does our military items, you know, if you want to bring in for that. Tell me, do you remember what some of the special things that you saw last year?
Oh, gosh. I saw a lot of, I saw some old paintings. Wasn't there a very unusual doll that somebody brought in?
A great doll, yep. That was a wonderful doll. I think we ended up having that one appraised. It was several $100s. And, you know, I was like, she had it piled on top of all kinds of other things. And I'm going, this is one of the best things to walk in the door. Yeah, they got so excited. So we usually have somebody that has areas of expertise. I know Cheryl Reed and Cindy from Inverness Antiques, downtown Inverness. They'll be there, and they are, Cheryl is the pro when it comes to anything early American antiques, quilts, crockery, sterling. She is just really, really good. So we'll have her there doing those things, sending everybody in that direction that has, that sort of items. They work together as a team. Judy Schmutzer.
Yes.
She was really, really good, did a lot of the jewelry. She is a licensed appraiser, and she does a lot of estate work. She's good. We're going to have her on the show one day. That way we can share her phone number.
From your end of things, did you notice that there were a lot of a certain kind of item that was brought in more than other things, or was it a wide variety?
Well, coins. People always bring in coins, so we have a coin guy. He'll be there. People always have a tendency to bring in jewelry, things that are smaller, easier to carry. Although we did have some people bring in, bring their dolly, bring in furniture in, which is good. So I know that we'll probably. I'm working on the gentleman from down south who comes up and helps us with the art. I'm also working with another auctioneer from David Glenn from Turkey Creek, trying to have him come in because he's really been in the business since he was pulling his wagon, buying and selling things, and cut his teeth as a young man working for auctioneers up by the Cape, and he holds several records. He has sold the most expensive piece of Lalique, and so he's good. He'll be there as well. So
it's also fascinating.
One of the things I want to know is Ellie Schiller. Tell me about Ellie Schiller.
The park was renamed after Ellie Schiller a couple of years ago. She was a wonderful benefactor to the park, and she kind of met the park manager, Art Urian. By chance, she lived up in Inglis, and she was trying to catch the stray dog that she was very concerned about. She was a wonderful person, really cared about animals and nature and everything. And he helped her catch the dog, and they got to be friends. And he said he was the manager at the park and invited her to come and visit the park. And as they were walking around, he was pointing out some of the things he wanted to do. Yeah. And he didn't know at the time, but she was the director for the Filburn Foundation. The
Filburn, which is a major philanthropic organization worldwide, does lots and lots of things.
And we had no idea. So anyway, he was saying about redoing the bear exhibit, I think it was at the time. And she said, "How much do you need to do that?" Well, one thing led to another, and she became very involved in the park and helped us a great deal with it.
She was wonderful. Not only she lived in Inglis, she also lived in Pine Ridge. And I know that because we actually did the auction for her house when we sold all the contents of her house. And then I always tell people that as an auction business, a lot of times we become involved and learn about people and feel their vibrations and who they were after they've passed, and learn so much about them. And she was an incredible woman and did stuff to help people all over the world for so long.
Worked with the snow leopards in Asia and just in education, environmental education. It's a wonderful foundation. They still support the park, the Filburn
Foundation. That's wonderful. Now the park is right there on Highway 19 in Homosassa. If you've never been there, great place to take your friends and your family when they come to visit. Great park. And make sure you're going to be there at our appraisal fair, because it'll raise money for the park, Friends of the Park, and we'll have people there doing appraisals in all sorts of different areas. I mean, we talked about Bob with the violins. We have the other fellow coming in. Oh, here's some pictures of some things that we're going to go as we go through the next segment. These are people that are standing in line talking to us, and we collect the $5 or the $12 for the 2 items, and then we give you the ticket, and then you move to each different ones. And this is the young lady here that came that had her stamp collection. People who love their collections love to share their collections. So if you have a collection out there and you want to share it, by all means call Susan. The number will be there. She'd be happy to set up a table. And then, is it cost anything to rent a table?
No, not at all.
See how much fun is that? Bring your collection in and share that. This is the one that you said came in late. He had his train collections.
I think the day before, is there space for me? And we found him a table, and he had little kitty cars in those trains, and it was wonderful.
And she came in with her doll collection, which was nice. And this year we're actually moving. There's Judy. She's wonderful, knows her stuff. Man, that woman knows her stuff. But and in the background you see the two that we're doing.
Yeah.
And there's Judy, another Judy, and she brought her Nutcracker collection. And you're right, she has several collections.
Yeah.
Although was those hers or? Anyway, it was fun, and we're moving just the room. We're still going to be there.
Oh, we're still going to be in the visitor center, but we'll be downstairs. We'll be in what's called the Florida room.
Yeah.
So as you come into the visitor center, there'll be some of the collectors out front too, and we'll have a table with an arrow and directing you to the
So just
all
come
the
on
wonderful
down.
things going on.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. This is Chris Dudley, Auction Adventures here with Judy, and we're going to go. Susan, I did that. Boy, I'm going to get in trouble for this yet. Come on back. It's part of the adventure every time we do this. Dudley Adventures, Auction Adventures, Adventures for Appraisals. We'll see you in just a minute. What a daily. Hi, this is Chris Dudley. So you got my name right this time. Here with Susan Strawbridge from the Homosassa Springs attraction. We're talking about our appraisal fair that we're going to be having on
Saturday, June the 15th.
Saturday, June the 15th. Now, it's not just an appraisal fair, it's a collector fair, a collector's day and appraisal fair.
Right.
And we were just talking during the break, after I apologize for really falling through on your name, I'm so sorry.
No problem.
We were going to try to talk more people to bring their collections in.
Right. If you have an interesting collection, please give me a call and we'll make room for you. We need a few more collectors. And definitely, if you have something at home, a family heirloom or something you picked up at a yard sale and you've always wondered about, bring it in, find out about it.
Now, the phone number, if you want to call, is right down there, 628-5445, extension 1002, and you can just go ahead and ask for Susan, and she'll set you up with a table. It's no cost for the table.
No cost for the table.
And you know, living here in Citrus County, we're always looking for fun things to do, and this is just a great way to spend the day. I mean,
absolutely.
You get to talk to like-minded people, and what do you collect, and this is what I collect, and I know I'm attached to my other half is a collector of a great many things, and one of the things I talk about is that he is a bottom of the drawer junkie. Small things that throw in the bottom of the drawer that normally have no value, but you start putting them all together, and then all of a sudden, oh, that really looks cool.
Isn't that an interesting collection?
Yeah, and he actually has a collection of those McDonald's Transformers. You know, they look like look like a McDonald's Big Mac, and all of a sudden you open that puppy up and it turns into all kinds of things. And we have a collection display cabinet at the auction hall, and he changes it on a regular basis. Oh, those were in there. Currently, there's the Kentucky Derby glass collection, and then he had his Band-Aid box collection up there. So you know, you just never know. The collecting is an addiction. It's an obsession, and that's a definite personality trait for people like me that are in those kind of businesses, and people who are collectors. You know, they love their pieces. I even knew a woman once that collected banana stickers. They take the stickers off the Chiquita bananas or whatever bananas.
Yeah, that's different. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, well, Robert has a yardstick collection. I mean, he could whirl around the world a couple of times, you know, with those yardsticks. But tell me what you're looking for. Anything in particular? As
far as collections go, oh, gee, there's so many different things, like you're just saying. Anybody who has anything I know a lady who collects Raggedy Ann dolls.
See, I do. I know another lady that's in Inverness that's what his whole room is just all Raggedy Ann dolls.
You name it, kitchenware, any kind of things.
A lot of people collect that red Bakelite kitchenware. Sheet music. Sheet music is a big thing. Postcards. Right. I know we have a gentleman that'll be looking at postcards, which hopefully he'll be there. You know, there's just people that come in and buy all sorts of glassware. You know, so you can go anywhere from Fenton to milk glass to blown glass to art glass.
Such a variety of things.
I mean, just stretched. Anything that's sterling. People like collecting sterling cigarette boxes or jewelry. If you have a particular kind of jewelry, I know a lady that I work with who that's what she does is Bakelite jewelry.
Yes, very specialized area.
Very targeted. So and just make sure you look at the calendar. Mark it for June 15th, 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. will be the collectors. You come in a little bit bit early, set up on your table, and then 11 o'clock we'll come in just before that, set up all the appraisers, and then we'll make sure we pass them all out. Again, $5 per item if you bring one item. If you bring 3, then it's $12, and then we just kind of multiply it by there from there.
Right.
And people have been very happy. I mean, sometimes there is definitely times when, you know, we're just, nobody knows everything about everything, and they come in, and it's, we'll play Stump the Chump, okay? So somebody comes in, we give it to the appraiser, they have no idea, and we kind of go, okay, let's go to the next one. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? And then we try our best to do that. I know that we hooked up online last year, so we had the internet hooked up so we could do some research there.
That was great.
Firearms, sometimes people can bring firearms, but they make sure you don't bring anything loaded. That kind of stuff, but it is fun.
It definitely is, and we look forward to it. We really appreciate Dudley's auction helping us out.
Well, I'm happy to do that. We've been doing them for years, did them for years for other organizations, and it is a fun day to get out there and get your name out there and share with people. And again, we don't do any buying that day. It is strictly all about appraisals, but if you want to pick up cards from like Cheryl and Cindy and Marty or any of those guys, they're happy to share their cards and their information so that you can come back and talk to them afterwards. Lots of shops here in Citrus County, a lot of them can help you with the appraisals of different things. So just really quick, because we got a couple minutes, talk about what it costs to get into the park.
It's $13 for an adult ticket. And if you have AAA or AARP, you get 20% off.
And don't you have an annual pass?
There is, we used to have what we called a season's pass. We don't have that anymore, but they have annual entrance permits that are good for all the Florida state parks.
Oh, wow.
And you can get those, I think it's $60 for an individual one.
You know, and
per
that's
year.
wonderful because you can go, you can camp at those parks, you can go visit, and we have some wonderful parks. And then you have Fort Cooper. In Citrus County alone, we have three or four state parks.
Right.
You know, so you could use them anytime there.
I think there's 171 the last I heard, state parks in Florida. It's one of the largest number of state parks.
Well, that's another good reason to come to Homosassa. You can come down for the appraisal fair. You can talk to Susan. You can give her a call.
Please do.
Take the day. Go down there and visit. It's always so much fun to spend the day. I know I go there for the Christmas lights. That's a wonderful time to come by and visit. And there's always, you have events happening. Do you have a website?
We do. It's actually part of floridastateparks.org/Homosassa Springs.
So you can go there and there's a calendar of events?
Calendar of events is online, and we have various different things ahead for the rest of the year. So all kinds of different events, but this is going to be a great day.
Well, we'll have a lot of fun on that day. Well, again, Chris Dudley, Dudley's Auctions. We're here with Susan talking about the attraction. I know I keep saying it over and over again, but I want you to mark your calendar, June 15th. Make sure you're there and come by and visit us over at Dudley's Auctions anytime. We always have lots of fun happening. We'll be back again next week with another collector or expert that can help and share some tips, and maybe we'll bring some other auctioneers in there. This is Auction Adventures. You never know what's going to happen. It's just part of the adventure. We'll look forward to talking to you again. Watch us on a regular basis. Go to dudleysauctions.com. This is Chris Dudley saying goodbye with Susan. We'll see you on the next issue of Auction Adventures. Bye-bye.